When I was considerably younger, my parents would drop me and my sister off at the movie theater on Sunday afternoon so they could go play bridge while we watched a double feature. Welcome back to Black Bear Forge and the Hook of the Week. So I thought this week, why not have a double feature Hook of the Week? That means two separate videos, two separate hooks. Instead of doing two hooks in one really long video, we'll make two reasonable length videos. Now, unlike going to the movie theater where you got to stay in your seat if you want to see both movies back to back, if you want to watch the second video tomorrow, the next day, next week, whatever, that's just fine with me, but it'll be there and it's available if you want to watch it. The first piece of material out of the scrap bucket that I have for our double feature today is a piece of 3/8 by 1.5. So that's about 10 millimeters by, looks like 36 millimeters, something like that. Exact sizes, like always, aren't that important. It's 6 inches long. And what I thought I would do with this is split it this way for, maybe 1 inch or something, and spread that open, and that will be a mounting base that goes up against the wall. The other side, I thought I would split lengthways and get close to where that first split ends, and that will make a double hook. So we have a hook up and a hook down, typical coat hook fashion. But it'll be all out of one piece, and it'll all be split, and you get a back plate and everything, and I think that'll be kind of an interesting approach to making a hook. So, without further ado, let's start our double feature by getting this piece of material hot. So to do that edge split, I think I'll lock it in this little vise that sits on the anvil. It could stand a little bit better hardy shank on it, but it does keep the piece from falling on the floor and supports it so it's easy to split. And if you're striking straight down, it doesn't move all that much. This is going to take several heats, and because it's tall and thin, relatively speaking anyways, it's going to buckle and need to be straightened. This would be pretty fast and simple to do on a bandsaw, but not everybody's got a bandsaw, so let's do it this way. And that's blowing a lot more because I'm trying to push my cut over to the side a little bit. I think maybe the next heat will cool this off some to keep it under control better. Just want to see if I can open that up both ways. Might have to go to the post vise to do that. What I want to do here is just drive this over so the split is opening equally from both sides. I think that will be a little easier to keep things straight and in line. It wasn't bad just doing that in the post vise, and if you don't have a little holder like this for your anvil, I think I would just do it in the post vise. There's always more than one way to get things done. So adapt what I showed you to fit the tools and techniques that you've got and are most comfortable with. What I don't want to do is accidentally cut through the side here. It's a little bit crooked cut as I get to the bottom, so I may just call it good there. It's pretty much as deep as I wanted it anyways. Now I'm not going to spread that out yet because it'll interfere with my ability to do this next split. So I'll just close it back up and we'll reopen it when I need to. Before I do that split, I'm going to punch a hole right here, well behind my first split. And this will provide a nice transition point for these other arms. And my little slug punched out there. And all I'm going to do is just split right up to that hole. I'm just going to use the same basic hot chisel we've been using. Don't need a whole lot of tools to do simple projects like this. Although clamping tools like the vise, the hold fast, and that little anvil vise there certainly come in handy, but they aren't 100% necessary. You got to have something to hold it, but of course, chisel cutting this leaves a little bit of a rough edge. So we're going to have to get in there and clean that up some. But that's cut all the way through now. I'm going to go ahead and open this up so we get a file in there and hot rasp this, or hot file it, or however you want to look at it. We'll do some of this opening at the vise. This just gets a good start. At this point, all I really need is enough room to get this farrier's rasp in there. Hot rasping is fast and efficient. I've looked at this before. And yes, you can go both directions. This soft material isn't going to hurt this old worn out farrier's rasp. You don't need a new rasp, just get an old one. does dig into that burr a little bit, so sometimes you have to work with the finer side just to get started. Cools off, get it hot again. First thing we're going to do is just straighten that out. I'm going to draw it out, but I don't want to draw it out right to the tip. I'm going to leave a little mass there. So I'm using the hardy hole as an edge of the anvil. Make sure you're careful about swinging over here. You'd hate to hit that hot leg with your hammer hand. Now, another way you can create that edge of the anvil effect for something shorter like this is just with an anvil block. For that matter, if your anvil is well worn, an anvil block might be worthwhile anyways, because you can create whatever edge you want there, even if your anvil's kind of chipped up. I'm going to round this up some. There's enough material here, I could make this really long, but I see no reason to draw this out till it's a foot long. Now for this end, I'm going to forge that into a little ball, I think, or something ball-like. Probably not going to worry too much about it being a perfect ball. Get a nice upset on that to make it easier to turn into a ball with the vise here. And this will have cold shuts in it. Another thing you could certainly do is bring this up to welding heat to bring that ball together, and it might weld, but it would certainly close up and you'd probably never see the cold shuts. But you kind of got the idea there. I may fuss with that a little bit more just to clean it up some. Let's do this other one a little bit different. Just use a couple of different tools and see if we end up with a better looking ball end on it. It'll also go much faster. To start with, let's isolate the mass under a guillotine tool and end up with a much cleaner shoulder that way. So that right away leaves us a much nicer mass to work with here. And I can start rounding that up a little bit right there. I want to try and spread this open so it's about 90 degrees at this point, and I'm going to go to the power hammer to draw this out, but let's open it up a little more first. Like so many of these hooks, I'm just kind of making this one up as I go. If I were to do it again, it might look a little different. So, slightly different pair of tongs would be in order. That's better. This way I'll be able to get it into the power hammer. And at this stage, it'll go pretty quick. It just makes that tedious drawing out a little bit better, but you can do it by hand, so you don't have to have a power hammer. I want to clean it all up and make it smooth now. I'll probably do a little bit of filing or grinding on these balls when I'm all done, just to get them nice and cleaned up. And upsetting this in the vise a little bit does make it a little bit faster to do. And you can certainly hot rasp these to make them a little cleaner. Maybe we'll just go ahead and do that. It'll get it done quick and it'll be part of the video. Mostly you're just taking rough spots and big divots out here. I'm not trying to worry about too perfect. If I wanted it perfect, I'd probably use a ball swedge to forge it. Guess one of these days we'll have to look at ball swedges. Well, I thought I'd pop back from the very end of the video and let you know that my little microphone came unclipped at some point. So the audio for this next section of the video is not going to be as good as I would like. I apologize for that. Just take a little time to make sure that ball is pretty much straight up on the end there. Otherwise it looks kind of funny. I think we want to do the hook shape on this. And to do that, first I want to know which one's longest. If they're not exactly the same length, I use the long one for the bottom hook. So that's to the bottom of the ball. Those are exactly the same length. Some days you get lucky. Drop that down a little bit. And this will be the bottom hook. I think I like that. I need to do the top hook. Very unusual. In general, I kind of like the form, and I probably clean this up a little bit after we open the back, just after I see what it looks like if it was actually up against the wall. I think that gives us a pretty good idea. So the next thing is to open this split back up in the back side. And somebody's going to say, but what about your touch mark? So we'll go ahead and put a touch mark on here. Let's open that back up with the chisel. Last moment to try and straighten everything. Might be easier to clamp it in the vise to do that. But one way or the other, you should be able to get it pretty straight. All in all, I really like that hook. This back went better than I was afraid it might. I really like that effect. I think there's a lot we could do with this style of hook. Perhaps this arm is a little bit too long and this one might be a little short, but we could certainly do things differently to address that. We'll We'll let that cool, and then the usual paste wax finish, and drill a couple of holes in it. Well, once again, I'd like to apologize for the sound quality during a portion of the video. The little mic that I wear clipped to the side of the apron came unclipped and was hanging down around my knees somewhere back behind me. And unfortunately, it doesn't work very well back there, so most of the audio was recorded with the backup camera's built-in mic, and it just isn't quite as good as we'd like. So I apologize for that. Someday when we get to the point that I'm doing maybe a video a week or video every other week, I just scrap that, start over again, redo the entire project. But we're not quite to that point yet, so we're just going to use what we've got and hope it came out okay. Plus, I'm going to try and get a second video done today. Plus, we still have our double feature and our second video to do today. But let's take a look at what we ended up with. Here is our finished hook, and I'm really very happy with this. I like the way this came out. I think this is a great idea. You can do all sorts of different hooks here with that same starting point of the split backplate. So this is certainly something I'm going to explore again. I think we can do other things. I don't know if we'll do them for Hook of the Week, or if you'll just have to follow me on Instagram, and I'll try to post pictures there if I do more of them. But if I need Hook of the Week ideas, that could be what we do with it. And of course, I've drilled this and will provide screws with it. The slotted round head wood screws look really good with a hook like this, so I'll provide 4 of those with this hook. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. If you haven't done so already, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button down there. Feel free to stick around, watch a few of the other videos, share the videos with your friends. If you'd like to provide financial support for the videos here at Black Bear Forge, there are links down in the video description for both PayPal and Patreon. Those are merely donations. The content is free. Then make time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, but stay safe, wear your safety glasses, stick around just a little bit longer, and there will be a link for the second portion of today's double feature Hook of the Week.